What's going on, everybody? This is Matthew. Today is November 30th. It's like 9:30 in the morning. If anybody remembers, a couple years ago, 2019, at the end of it, there was some pretty big protests going on around the world, especially in Japan and China, mainly in China, where they were protesting the government for the way they were treating them, and mainly banking. A lot of people didn't like how the banking system works. And if anybody doesn't know, over there they have this credit score system that they want to implement around the world. They're trying to do it around here. The CBDC, if you're not politically correct, they can deduct your shit, basically. But anyway, 2018, 2019, it started ramping up a lot. And then the lockdowns happened, and everybody kind of forgot about it for a while. There was more important stuff going on in the world. Then the wars happened, and pandemics, and lockdowns, shortages. Everybody's been distracted, really, really distracted. Nobody wants to stand up like they were in 2019. I get on YouTube this morning, just scrolling through some stuff, and something popped up, CNN live coverage of the protests in China. Out of all the news agencies, why is CNN showing that? If anybody isn't aware, that CNN only shows what the government wants them to show, or not the government, but whoever is in control of everything. They're the only ones that 100% will follow that. I don't know if they're the only ones, but I know for a fact that that's what they do. It's not like they go out and talk about, shit that is actually happening that we should be aware of. They cover the stuff that they're told to tell us. Just like most of the news. It's all BS. But anyway, I found it really weird that they were showing it. Especially over in China. And I was thinking, we're meant to see this, obviously, for a purpose. And I think it has a bigger impact, these protests and stuff going on over there. I think it's a bigger impact than what we're just thinking, oh, it's protests, people standing up for themselves. Good for them. Just like the Ukraine thing, the Russia thing. I think that was it's a war. People are dying. I'm not discrediting that. I understand it's terrible. But I think it's just a distraction for what's to come with China. If China would have hit Taiwan like they wanted to, people would have been outraged. All kinds of countries would have been going over there supporting them, and it would have been done deal. I think they did the Russia thing first, so there was public outcry. People used up a lot of their energy and resources helping. It's like the big brother, that everybody gives something to the big brother, and when it comes to the little brother, he doesn't get shit because everybody gave him to the older brother. Just like my birthday's in January. All my family, when I was a kid, was broke as shit during Christmas because they spent a bunch of gifts, and when it comes time to my birthday, it's like I got like one thing, and I was like, they tried. I'm not saying they didn't try. They tried as hard as they could. It is what it is, but the same thing's going on with Russia and China right now. Everybody has a public outcry with Russia. Oh, this is terrible. Wow, let's help everybody. And then when it comes time to these protests in China, are going to get so freaking bad, especially because they have the no COVID policy. You know what I mean? And who is not Fauci, but the other dude, the freaking robotic, Klaus Schwab. He wants everybody to have the COVID-free policy. The 0% mandate thing, or whatever he's talking about. He wants us to be exactly like that. And you can see, not just CNN. I found it weird that they were showing it, because I've been seeing it on other news, on social media, and on alternative media, I should say. You see it a lot more on there. These things have been going on for a while. But now the mainstream is talking about it. It's very, very strange that the mainstream's talking about it. Unless they want us to get an uproar, you know, and we're supposed to go help the people, not liberate them or help them, you know, fighting, but I think they want us to back them, to make them feel like we're going to help them as best we can, like FEMA would or something, you know, or the UN, or, you know, just like public outcry. They didn't want it to be so bad, but they wanted it a little bit to go help. And then China's going to be like, oh, you can't come in our country to help us. And I have a feeling something dumb's going to happen, like somebody's going to accidentally die, or, you know, just some dumb shit like that. I feel like we're a lot closer to World War III. And all these governments are pushing it. They want it to happen, but they don't want to be behind it. You know what I mean? They want it to go over the cliff, but they don't want to be the one standing there at the edge of the cliff everybody's looking at. They wanted to do it on its own. They're trying to help the process along by doing little dumb shit here and there, but they can't be the one pushing it. You know what I mean? It's all these, whatever you want to call it, psyop shit, man, all these conspiracies. It's not a conspiracy if it's true. And all these people have been tied to CIA, FBI, over and over and over again. They've been caught lying over and over and over again. Hell, there was even something about Charlie Manson, about how he was in the CIA, or he was affiliated with the CIA, and they wanted division to happen. I'm not saying the government as a whole, but the people above the government that are in the shadows. There's like all these mass shooters, just like oh god, what the hell was his name? There's somebody that did the exact same thing. Bin Laden, he was trained by the freaking CIA to fight the Russians. And what did we do there? We trained them to fight the Russians back in the Cold War, or whenever it was, and we just dropped them. It was, okay, we don't need you anymore, we're done. And what happened? Motherfuckers got slaughtered, dude. All of them, not all of them, but most of them got wiped out. And they got pissed off at America because we just let them be. You know, we trained them and helped them and got them into this position to fight the Russians. And when it was come time, we just dropped them. That's why they hated America so much. Because the government is a piece of shit that uses people, and as soon as they're done using you, they're done. Oh, I never did that. No credibility. We didn't do that. Nope. We can't. You know, they'll deny everything to save a little face. They want this to be happening, but they can't be behind it. So they're going to use news media to manipulate you. They're going to use, you know, pain and suffering to make you feel bad for people and guilt trip you. They do it all the time, man. It's like those things that you used to see at 2 o'clock in the morning is, please help the pets. You know, the animals, they're being abused and they need help. They make you feel so sad and like almost to the point that you're pissed off about watching it. You feel angry that this is happening to these animals, but only if you give $50 or a donation or something that you can feel good. You know, spend $10 to save the whales. And it's all good, man. I'm not knocking people that are helping animals and helping wildlife. That's awesome. But what I'm talking about is the guilt trip that they put you through. It's like an abusive relationship, man. If anybody's ever been in an abusive relationship, you know what I'm talking about. They guilt trip you, make you feel terrible about something until you do what they want you to do. I remember a couple of my relationships were like that. It's terrible. The same thing with the government and whoever's controlling them. The same thing. Turn off the news, man. Even YouTube to a point. There are some people on here that are talking the truth, and that is awesome. But there is a bunch of them that just tell you some dumb shit, man. Like the QAnon, JFK's coming back, and you know, I think one of them I heard was JFK with Elvis were going to come back and expose the election fraud and all this shit. And people like that, don't listen to this. It's not going to happen. JFK was shot back in the day before I was even born. I 100% believe that. How and who and why they shot him is the conspiracy, is why he was shot. Because he was trying to get rid of the central banking and all that. It's like Gaddafi and a bunch of other people throughout the world. They want to get off the petrodollar and get away from central banking, and all of a sudden you're, suicided, shot in the head 5 times and hung up to dry, and it's suicide. All these people are dying here and there, man. Celebrities, public figures. How many of them are suicidal? And they make you feel bad, like, oh, we never knew. I don't even know. Maybe that Robin Williams, maybe he knew something. I think was he suicide? I think he died of suicide or something. I don't know. I don't know anything about him. It seems like a lot of people that have power and have sway can talk about shit. Like George Carlin, he talked about a lot of shit. I don't know how he died. Maybe at old age. He was pretty old. But it seems like every time somebody brings something up, just like the dude that invented the engine that ran on water or whatever, all his shit was, swiped from him. You can't have anything against oil or anything against the petrodollar. This new thing that we're having now, the CBDC that just rolled out the day before Thanksgiving, where everybody was worried about Thanksgiving and getting everything in order and clean for their relatives and spending all your money on all this stupid shit. They happened to slip that in there and nobody called it. It's a beta test, how they're going to roll it out. I think David Dubin said that like a year or 2 ago. Is in a couple of years, it's going to be like in the beginning of the year, it's going to roll out for everybody. It's like, why we have everything's digital now. Credit cards, debit cards, pay with your phone. I know some of my customers pay their invoice by looking at their phone because it recognizes their face and it pays. Like, what kind of shit is that? That's not money. That's literally selling yourself. You want to talk about the mark of the beast, and I know a lot of people I talk about the mark of the beast, man. You'll know when it's here because it's going to have a big 666 on your arm or your forehead or your hand or whatever. Not necessarily. I do not believe that. Maybe the actual mark will be, but the things leading up to it, what we are going through right now, where they're having the centralized bank thing on your phone, is, why would the government give out free phones to everybody when Obama was in office? Free phones for everybody. You got crackheads walking around stealing TVs and shit, and they got 10 iPhones. They need everybody plugged into the digital network. They need everybody to be a part of it, or it's not going to work. Or at least a majority, 95%, maybe 90%, whatever. I'm sure the villages and like the Amish and stuff, I don't really think they care about them. That's not a statistical amount of people, all the tribes in the world that run around campfires, dancing with leaves and stuff, and the Amish and people like that, they probably make up 0.02 of the population of the whole world. I don't think they're too concerned with them, but it's a majority of everybody just going along in the motions. Everybody's just going through the motions, going to work, coming home, watching football, not learning anything, doesn't know what's going on, doesn't really care. Oh man, I can't get involved with that. I don't know anything about it. It's because you don't know anything about it, you're not a part of it. If you knew what the hell was going on, you would be a part of it because you'd be pissed. You'd be standing up like the people in China. If everybody did that against their government, like right now, we would be alright. They'd get scared, they'd pull back. But no, nobody wants to stand up and do anything. Nobody wants to say, hey, I have a problem with this, man. It's like the kid getting bullied in school. Nobody stands up for him because he doesn't want to be the only one standing up for him. So everybody lets the kid get picked on and bullied. And the bully thinks he can do it all his life. I was just listening to a dude, what's his name, Mr. Ballin. If anybody's watched him, he talks about some crazy shit. A lot of hauntings of 401s. But anyway, there was a case of these people going into a cult kid and they thought he was like the second Messiah or something like that, and they worshipped him, and you know, the mom, dad, and all the sisters worshipped this kid, and this kid grew up thinking that he was like the second coming of Jesus or something. You know, he was the chosen one, and he went like, I can do anything I want, and he ended up killing his sisters and his mom, and they sat there and let him do it because they believed that that's what it was supposed to be. I mean, that's a lot different than a cult. Like, that is totally different than a bully, but it's the same concept. I'm gonna sit back and do nothing because I don't, you know, I shouldn't get a part of this. It's not me. You need to stand up for people. You need to stand up for yourself. Stand up for your country, whatever country you live in. You can be separate and different and love each other the same. I'm different than a gay person. I'm different than a black person. We are, by definition, different, but we still love each other. That's not a hard concept to grasp, man. They want to think just because, you know, oh, we're different, man, so we have to act different. We have to be different. We got to hang out with different people. You can do that and still love each other and still be good people to each other. That's it's not a hard concept to grasp, man, but people just say, oh, anybody that thinks that we're separate are evil. And that's not the case, man. Love everybody the same, no matter what you are, who you are. And just start standing up for people, man. And keep an eye on China, because that shit is about to pop off. See you later.